Yeah, so we're excited about Gen AI because it's going to help every employee uncover information that previously was buried within companies. So I think every company has a ton of information scattered through many SaaS applications, and people lose hours every week searching for this information. Since we've started experimenting with Gen AI, we've been able to pull some of this information out that previously wasn't available. Um, so we have three applications. So GoLinks is used for managing your links. Go Profiles is used for discovering teammates and employees. And then Go Search is our new product here, which allows you to search through all of your SaaS integrations. And so I just want to give two kind of real world examples that I used and found very powerful. So the first one is at GoLinks, we're a fully remote company. So whenever we have the opportunity to meet up with people in person, we'd like to take advantage of that. And so I was able to ask like, hey, which of our employees are in New York, and where is the easiest place to meet up? And because our Gen AI has access to employee information, it was able to give me a list of those employees and then suggest a location based on the locations of other employees and allow us to easily meet up in a centralized location, which would have taken, somebody would have to go and look at all those employees, find out what the closest place is to search up. And Gen AI was able to do that in seconds. And so it's pretty powerful there. The second example is like we often get common questions asked. Hey, how do I reset my password, for example? So this happens quite a bit. People forget their passwords. With Gen AI, it's able to scan our internal docs, find out that information, and surface it up to our employees again within seconds. And so it really just boosts that searching for information and finding information, and it's gonna really power everyone's workflows there. Um, so coming from a more engineering perspective, like working with my engineers, that collaboration, they actually use Gen AI to like collaborate. So because sometimes you run into errors and like sometimes the engineers don't know what the error is. They can pop that into like Gen AI and then get like, hey, based on that context and what errors they're running into, here's what might help solve this situation, and they can kind of use that as like another person in the room almost to help collaborate. And then kind of talking about like the customer experience as well. From our customer support team, we get a lot of requests of like, hey, this customer needs to, they need to change all of their employees' roles or something, and we don't have a tool for that yet. So typically, an engineer would have to come in and write that script and like be able to like go and it would basically take like a day of work to put that into practice. But they actually can work with Gen AI to be like, hey, can you come up with a script that can take this file and generate, a CSV or a SQL script that can output it. And then it gets like 90% of the way there. Of course, like, it's not going to be perfect every time. They have to go through and like make sure that it's working correctly. But like at least just getting that initial script together and being able to review it and modify it is really powerful as well. And it helps, save them time, like, because I want my engineers working on product related things and not these kind of, custom support requests. And so it's really helped out there to be able to enable them to be quicker in getting those support requests out. Yeah, kind of talking about that too. You're talking about your engineering team kind of finding new ways to innovate. I think if anyone here like has an engineering team or has the ability to like push initiatives, having a Gen AI hack day was like one of like the best things we did because your engineers are very creative and can find different uses for these things. So like we had a hack day and people came up with like, um, for example, our Go Profiles product. It's basically like a more human aspect to like the org chart instead of just having an org chart. It's like the org chart, but you have like facts about people. And one of the things that someone built was like a little game of like the Generative AI comes up with like, hey, this person, has a dog, and this is their favorite movie, and these things like which employee is this, and it gives you three options, and then you try to guess who it is. And like I thought it was just such a cool idea because it's like I actually learned a lot about like our employees that we didn't know beforehand, and like that's something we would have never just like built into the product, but having the hack day kind of like helps bring out those ideas and just shows you different ways you could use it. Another option was like, or another idea was one of our new products we're doing is performance management. But like, how do you get peer feedback in a way that's not like directed towards, or you can tell who it's coming from. And so like one idea someone had was like taking in those peer reviews putting into Gen AI and summarizing that so that it comes from like a neutral voice, and it's, focuses on the actual review versus like, coming from a specific person. So like it's amazing to see like the ideas that people come up with if you just give them the opportunity. And like Rebecca was saying, it's like it's so accessible now. It's like all you need is an API to be able to do it. Of course, you want to like make it more. You want to bring those Gen AIs more into your company and train it based on your company's data. But like even if you haven't done this yet, just use ChatGPT. It makes it very simple to like be able to have a hack day just to see what people come up with and really drive those innovative ideas. So I'm sure if you've played with AI, you know sometimes it'll just straight up hallucinate or lie about certain things. When in our field, it's like we're trying to provide answers based on like the information within your company. And so sometimes we'll ask it things, and it'll just spit out a very confident wrong answer. And so that's where the challenge of like how do you fact check the things that Gen AI is actually saying. And I think that's like a big challenge that we're trying to solve right now. Is like, yes, we can put it in there, we can have it pull up this information, but now how do we actually fact check and make sure that the information we're providing is legitimate information that the user can use? Because I think one thing, and I've seen this too, is like sometimes people will just like believe what it's saying, even if, like, hey, actually this isn't like correct. And I've noticed that too. And sometimes and it's funny because when you say like, hey, this is actually wrong, it'll be like, oh yeah, I'm sorry for that. And it'll like correct itself. And so that's a big challenge there, is like making sure that the, the facts that it's spitting out is actually true. Um, and yeah, solving that challenge.
How can organizations measure the ROI of incorporating generative AI into their team's workflows and processes? So, I think one way that, especially with GoLinks, that Sean can probably touch on is saving time. And Sean, I'll let you talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think that will be a very important thing in the future to be able to measure that ROI, because like right now it's still so very new that like we can see, a support request, which usually takes 24-hour SLA, can be done within a couple minutes or a couple hours with an engineer and generative AI. But being able to measure that, right? So maybe you take metrics such as the time it takes to resolve an issue, or like the time it takes to get features out, or products. Yeah, that's a great question. We currently aren't doing that, but I believe with internally within our company, like we do have on GoLinks, like you can measure, what is the ROI of saving time by using GoLinks, right? And so maybe incorporating that with a Gen AI tool would be a good idea there.